Have you ever wondered how the United States went from a handful of colonies to a global superpower? It's a story packed with exploration, conflict, big ideas, and incredible change. Let's dive into the epic history of America, all in about 10 minutes. Our journey starts way back in 1492. When Christopher Columbus sailed across the Atlantic, he wasn't looking for a new continent. He thought he'd found a new route to Asia. Instead, he landed in the Americas, and his arrival kicked off an era of European exploration that would forever change the lives of the indigenous peoples who had called this land home for thousands of years. Following Columbus, other European powers like Spain and France set up shop, but it was the English who really made a mark on the East Coast. They established 13 colonies, from New Hampshire down to Georgia. Life was tough for these early settlers. They faced harsh weather, had to learn how to farm new lands, and navigated complex relationships with Native American tribes. But despite the struggles, these colonies grew, developing their own local governments and a unique sense of identity. By the mid-1700s, things started getting tense between the colonies and Great Britain. The British government began imposing taxes like the Stamp Act without giving the colonists any say in the matter. This led to the famous slogan, "No taxation without representation," which became a powerful rallying cry for independence. The frustration boiled over in 1775 with the battles of Lexington and Concord, marking the start of the American Revolutionary War. A year later, in 1776, the colonies declared their independence, adopting the Declaration of Independence penned by Thomas Jefferson. This document wasn't just a breakup letter to Britain. It laid out the revolutionary ideas of liberty and equality that would become the foundation of the new nation. After 8 long years of fighting, and with some crucial help from allies like France, the Americans won. The Treaty of Paris in 1783 officially recognized the United States of America as an independent country. But winning the war was just the beginning. The first attempt at a government, the Articles of Confederation, was too weak. So, in 1787, the nation's leaders gathered to create the U.S. Constitution, establishing a stronger federal government with a clever system of checks and balances. To protect individual liberties, they added the Bill of Rights in 1791, guaranteeing freedoms like speech and religion that are still central to American democracy today. The 19th century was all about expansion. In 1803, the U.S. doubled in size overnight with the Louisiana Purchase from France. This fueled a belief known as manifest destiny, idea that it was America's destiny to stretch from the Atlantic to the Pacific. As settlers pushed westward, they clashed with Native American nations and ignited a fierce debate over a dark and divisive issue: slavery. This conflict between the industrial, anti-slavery North and the agricultural, pro-slavery South reached its breaking point. When Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860, the Southern states seceded, and the Civil War began in 1861. It was the deadliest conflict in American history, tearing the nation apart. The Unionist victory in 1865 not only preserved the country but also led to the abolition of slavery. The period that followed, known as Reconstruction, was a difficult attempt to rebuild the South and integrate nearly 4 million newly freed African Americans into society. The late 19th century, or the Gilded Age, was a time of explosive growth. Industries boomed, cities swelled with immigrants seeking a better life, and America became an economic powerhouse. But this prosperity came with a price: huge wealth gaps, dangerous working conditions, and widespread political corruption. As the 20th century dawned, America stepped onto the world stage. It joined the Allies in World War I in 1917, helping to secure victory. The 1920s, known as the Roaring Twenties, were a time of cultural excitement and economic boom. But it all came crashing down with the Great Depression in 1929. The country was plunged into a severe economic crisis. President Franklin D. Roosevelt responded with his New Deal programs, which offered relief and hope, fundamentally changing the role of government in American life. Then came World War II. After the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, the United States fully entered the conflict, becoming the arsenal of democracy and playing a decisive role in defeating Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan. The war's end left the U.S. as one of 2 global superpowers, alongside the Soviet Union. This kicked off the Cold War, a decades-long rivalry of ideology, technology, and military might. That defined the second half of the century. Back home, the post-war era saw economic prosperity and the rise of the suburbs, but it was also a time of profound social change. The civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s, led by inspiring figures like Martin Luther King Jr., bravely challenged racial segregation and fought for equality, forever altering the fabric of American society. The late 20th century saw the end of the Cold War, new technological revolutions, and the spread of American culture across the globe. The 21st century brought new and complex challenges: the 9/11 terrorist attacks, the subsequent wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, major economic downturns, and the recent global pandemic have all tested the nation's strength and resilience. Throughout it all, the United States has continued to innovate and lead, while grappling with deep social and political divisions at home. From a collection of colonies to a world leader, the history of the United States is a dynamic story of ambition, struggle, and reinvention. It's a nation shaped by its diverse people and its enduring, if sometimes imperfect, pursuit of liberty, equality, and democracy. Understanding this journey helps us appreciate the America of today and the challenges it will face tomorrow. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey through American history interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. See you next time.